Hi, art students. It's time for art class again. And first, we're going to start off with the Godzilla of the week. So let's do it. Coming in last place was Godzilla 54 and tied with Godzilla 62. Now, those numbers are the years that the Godzilla appeared. You probably didn't know that. I didn't bother to tell you, but now you know. So Godzilla 54, that was 1954. That was the first time you saw Godzilla. Godzilla 62, that's Godzilla versus King Kong. And then Godzilla 89 was a newer Godzilla that looks really awesome. Godzilla 89 got 9 votes, and Godzilla 54 and 62 got 4 votes each. And so Mecha Godzilla Classic got 16 votes total, so Mecha Godzilla Classic is the winner. So I'm going to show you Mecha Godzilla. He's pretty cool. Okay, here he is. Let's see here. So he's got missiles for fingers, and he does all kinds of weird laser shots. I think these are missiles. It's pretty sweet. He was really cool like in 1975. Like, this was a cool design. He probably looks goofy now, but that's what makes him so cool. They've had cooler versions of Mechagodzilla recently. Like, they're like way cool. But he's pretty cool for back in the day. So he's pretty sweet. So he's in the movie Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. It's like 1975. There's more than one Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. Here's that. And I don't know. I want to show you. I'll show you one more. I'll show you second place, Godzilla 89, just because he's so cool. But don't get accustomed to this, seeing more than one. I'm just doing it because he's so awesome and big, and I want to show you. So here's Godzilla 1989. Godzilla 1989, he fought Biollante. So Biollante is a giant Godzilla plant monster, but he was cool, trust me. But look at how cool this Godzilla is. The reason why I like these Godzillas is because they have a lot of, even though they're, it's a goofy dinosaur monster awesomeness, but there really is a lot of interesting artistic kind of elements in Godzillas that I really appreciate, like all the texture in the spines and all the texture in the, especially in these models. It's not just a generic texture, but there's a lot of real kind of artistic design going on in the texture, and all the different Godzillas, they look different. Like, each year has a different look. Some look kind of bad, or not bad, but goofy. But this one looks pretty cool. This is one of my more favorite Godzilla looks. This is the one that's similar to Godzilla 1995. This one has like the longest tail too, as you can tell. So he's pretty sweet. Anyways, these models were a lot of fun to build back in the day, a long time ago, but they're long gone. They can't make things like that anymore. It's just too expensive, sadly. But anyways, that's a lot of fun. So that's Godzilla and Mechagodzilla of the week. Next week, there'll probably just be one Godzilla. But thanks for joining my class, and let's get on with the art. Hi, fourth graders. It is now time for our Campbell soup can, to actually make a Campbell soup can. And what we're going to do is we're going to color it. This is our cardstock paper. This is, it's a little thicker than normal paper, and it has kind of a can label shape with the top and bottom of the can. What we're going to do is you're going to color it, and then you're going to tape it together so that it looks like a can. Here's an example. I colored this in the computer, that's why it's like super neat. But it's going to look like a can. Here's an official can, an official Campbell soup can. Okay. The first step you want to do is you want to color your paper, right? And you want to use as much color as possible. So for instance, you'll notice that I colored the top and the bottom. A lot of students they're kind of lazy and they just want to color like the top and not the bottom, because they're like, oh, Mr. Smith, like, see how the bottom is like white? Ooh, can I do that? Boy, that'd be a lot easier and not as much work to do. Yeah, I know. But no, I want you to color both sides. So color it, right? The nutrition information, you can leave that white if you like. And you can leave some of the words like the white, like the word condensed. That's pretty hard to do. Unless you have a real thin marker, go for it. But make sure you color both parts and color as much as you can. Notice that I colored the name a little bit. Oh, and I didn't finish yet. I wanted to show you something. But you want to color neatly as best you can. And you want to make up your soup, right? So this comes blank. This doesn't have a name. This is just Campbell's soup. So you want to invent a name for your soup, and make sure it's not too disgusting or whatever. But it could be something fun. So I did snail soup. You could do something semi-gross, not too gross. You could do like slime soup or hair soup. Or it doesn't have to be gross at all. It could be something fun, like it could be donut soup or pineapple soup or cookie soup, candy soup, something that's not too disgusting, right? Snail soup is kind of yucky, but not too disgusting. And people eat escargot. Escargot is snails. I haven't had it myself, but it's a legitimate food that some people eat, whatever. Snail soup. I did snail soup. So I actually drew the word in and then I colored it in. Now, there's a blank area over here where you can draw a picture. So like if you did pineapple soup, you could draw a pineapple. I did a snail, right? You could do some information like I did. Snails are good for you, right? And then I put some ingredients like snails and mushrooms. So you can fill some fun information in here if you like, right? Now I use colored pencils. You're going to use colored pencils or crayons or markers. Crayons are probably the hardest. A colored pencil is good to get into the fine little details, right? You could use both. You could use crayons for maybe part of it and then colored pencils for the rest. It works best though if you just use one or the other. Markers, be careful if you use markers because sometimes your marker runs out of ink and so it gets kind of splotchy, so it's hard to make it neat. So I don't know, maybe you can test your marker on a spare piece of paper or maybe just on the side over here. You can test it. If does it have ink? Is it like really dry? Then maybe use a different color. But two different colors, color it. Notice that I tried to, the can itself is gray, so don't leave that white. You can color it a color if you like. It could be pink, red, it could be whatever you want. I tried to make a gray. If you have a gray colored pencil, then maybe you just want to use gray. I used black, but I used it very faintly. Like very faintly I used the black, so it kind of made a gray. This one's neater than this one. Notice how that one's not very neat. So you want to make it as neat as possible. If you have a gray marker, that could work. I don't know, it's up to you. But you want to color this neatly. You want to invent a name for your soup. Not too disgusting, right? You can ask your parents. You can be like, hey, Mom, can I do this? And if your parents like, no, then that means it's too gross, okay? But do something fun, like I said, like candy soup or donut soup or, like I said, whatever. Something not so marshmallow soup, sure. But come up with a soup and then you can make it up yourself and color it differently. Remember, we're not trying to match a normal Campbell soup can. We're trying to be inventive and kind of play around with the colors and do something different. Okay, so that's what you want to do. You want to color it. Now it's time to cut this thing out. So what are you going to do? And how are you going to cut it out? Well, I'll show you. We're going to use the scissors, right? Now, the tricky part is right here because you need to cut around this part, the top of the can, and it's real easy to cut that off. So I'll show you what I recommend, and you want to take your time and do it neatly. Now watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to, like, on purpose not get too close to that. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to cut pieces away first, kind of to get around that top part of that can. And you want to be neat. Take your time. I might go a little faster to save time for this video, but you will go real slow. Cut around these boxes, these old boxes. These are our tabs that we will use to help us kind of attach the lid to the label. So watch what I'm doing here. Now there might be another way, you know, a parent at home might have another suggestion, but notice how I'm kind of cutting around. I'm trying to be careful. Like I'm going to save this part for last. I want to be careful around that part so that I don't separate the lid from the can. Oops, I kind of cut into my tab a little bit there. That was kind of sloppy of me. The tabs aren't as essential as the label and the top and bottom of your can. Okay, so I'm going to go down here, stop, cut this, okay. All right. So I cut out most of it, but I was careful around. I haven't cut this part yet. So now I want to be real careful. When you cut, you don't want to cut all the way through this circle. You kind of want to stop a little bit before that circle touches the label. So watch, I'm going to cut, I don't know, let's see, I'm going to cut right about there and stop. I kind of stopped early. It may be kind of hard to see, but you'll see. I'm going to let's see, there. Okay, and then this one. Stop a little early. You want to be real careful when you get to that part. Oh, here, let's talk about this. Okay. Notice right here, when I was coloring my gray, I was doing it softly, but notice how I went outside the line a little bit here. That helped me get a nice smooth line or color across the whole thing, but I went outside the lines a little bit. But it's okay on your round lid because you know you're going to cut this part off later anyways. So like here I kind of cut it off. So that's an okay thing to do if you think about it that way. Now let's see if I can successfully do this without cutting off the top. Okay, so far so good. And let's see here. I'm going to try not to cut it off. I'm like really trying not to cut it off. It's real easy to do. Okay, I barely succeeded. So let's see here. Let's see if you can see it. This one's really close. I almost cut it off there. This one has a little more space. I'll show you what happens if you accidentally cut it off. It's not the end of the world. But anyways, what we're going to do is we're going to fold this part down and fold this part. And then see these tabs? These are like the tab. You want to fold this down. This is going to be on the inside of your can. And so that'll tape there. So I'm going to fold these down. Oh yeah, don't forget to put your name on the bottom of your can. Name, so you can put your name here. Do me a favor too. Do the letter of your teacher. So if you're Brower, you'll put a little B and you'll circle it. Howe, put a little H, circle it. And Den Ouden, maybe a D, O, and then circle it. That way I just know, like, it helps me organize your projects. If you just put your name, that's okay. But it helps me if you put the initial, the letter of your teacher, and circle it. Okay. So see how I kind of bent those? You're like, oh yeah, I kind of see how that's happening. So that's going to be the top and the bottom. Then we're going to like, see how it says glue tape here? So what you're going to do is this is going to come around. I'll show you first, then we'll do it. And you're going to put some glue here, or you could tape it. I'll do both, I guess. And you want to kind of line it up and you want to glue it or tape it here. Then you're going to put a little bit of glue or tape on that and just do like that. You could put a little bit of tape over the top. As neat as you can though, maybe a parent can help you. This is tricky. Like maybe I'm making it look easy, but it's not for a fourth grader. So I understand it's not easy. So you can get some help, or maybe you have a big brother or sister. Maybe. They're probably like, oh, I don't want to do that. Maybe like, I did that last year. Anyways, okay. Anyways, that's what we're going to do. Now, I'm going to accidentally cut off. Now, don't do this on purpose. I'm going to do this just because it happens on accident. So it's like, whoops. It's like, oh no, Mr. Smith, I cut it off. Is that bad? No, it's okay. I'll show you how to fix it. But it would have been better if it was connected still. Like, that's better, but it doesn't mean I can't fix it. So, and that happens very often. So if you accidentally cut, don't do this on purpose, but if you accidentally cut off your bottom, it's okay. It's okay. So first, let's see if I can glue this. So I'm gonna put I'm gonna try the glue stick. Let's see if the glue stick works. If not, I'm just gonna tape it. Okay, so glue or glue stick. Let's see here. Getting glue on my table. Okay. And then you want to do this part first before you do your lid. So I'm going to connect this. Now, you have to kind of hold it. Let's see here. Ooh, I got that purple. You want to kind of hold it with both your thumbs and your fingers inside. You can't really see that. There, you can see it. You want to kind of hold it for a little bit of time until it's like fully glued, right? I'm going to wipe that off. So if you hold this for a while, it looks better if you don't use tape, right? So like if you use a decent amount of glue on this, you saw how much I used not too much, but I used a lot of glue. I covered that whole strip, right? Now that purple, usually that purple dries clear, so hopefully I'll just wipe a little bit off. This will look nicer than tape. So, and this is working pretty good. So I recommend you try that first, but you really got to hold it down. And hold it, be patient, hold it for like a minute or two. Maybe like this part's kind of peeling up, so you hold it down a little longer. Oh, I forgot to show you about this part, darn it. What I was gonna say is, I'll just, while this is drying, before I said you outline a little detail and then you color around it. In this particular instance, what I did was I colored, but I avoided it. I avoided these little details here. They're like, I don't know what they are. They're like little filigrees. They look like little crowns. So I kind of avoided it. And then what I did when I was done, like on this one, I went in and I very carefully colored around the edge. So I forgot to show you that. But anyways, that's another idea that you might have. Okay, well anyways. Now I'm curious let's see how well this will work. See, I have long fingers, so you may not be able to do this. So what I could do is I could put a little bit of glue here. I could, and on the other one too, put a little bit of glue here. I put them inside. I've got long fingers. I could actually reach that tab and press it down. You're like, Mr. Smith, my fingers cannot reach that far. You could have a parent help you, or I'm curious if it'll work. Let me try it. It should, because this glue stick was working very well. So I put some glue on both those tabs. Then I kind of tucked those tabs in. And then I put my fingers in there and I just kind of press it down. Now, if you could do this with a glue stick, it works. Oh man, see, yeah, this is hard for me, and I'm tall, right? Ooh, I think I might need more glue. But that would work best. There. That's pretty good. You're like, oh, my can sticks up a little. Is that okay? Yeah, if it's a little bit like, if it's like that, that's okay. Neatness. It's hard to make these things neat. I'm probably making this look easy. Okay, well, what about this one? I accidentally cut this one off. Now what do I do? Well, here's what I recommend. Use some tape. Or you could use some glue too. But you wanna, this one you can, if you cut off the whole piece, what you could do is, you're gonna put the tape underneath it. And parents can help your student if they, so it's sticky right here. It's sticky here. And so what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna put it, and I'm gonna tape it on the inside first. So, and this I can reach, so I can stick it. So you can put some tape right there, or you can put the tape on beforehand and stick it in. That's pretty good. Then I can fold this down, and it's hard to, you want this tab to be on the inside. I mean, technically, it's probably easier if it's on the outside, but it doesn't look very good. So just tuck that in. And what you can do is you can just tape it on the top and then pull it down. But this doesn't look as neat, does it? You're like, no, it doesn't. It's okay though. It's not terrible. The trick is, so watch, let's compare. Ooh, no tape. That's hard to do though. I have long fingers. I was able to reach. So that works pretty good. So glue, if you can get the glue to work neatly, that looks best. Or tape. Now the trick is, if you have to use tape, just don't use a lot of tape. Like, you might use some tape here. This one I taped on the inside. But maybe if you had a little bit of tape here, it wouldn't be the end of the world. The trick is, you don't want to goop a lot of tape around this whole thing. It's okay if it has a little, like, it's kind of coming up here a little. That's okay. But if it, I don't know. This is pretty good. This is pretty good. But like, if you had to use a little bit of tape, it's fine. But remember, less tape the better, or no tape. But if you have a little bit of tape, see, that was almost too big of a piece. Here, I'm going to cut it. There. So not a lot of tape, and then I'm just going to tape it over. That way it won't, ooh. There. I don't know. I could probably use a little bit of tape down here too. I'm not going to, but if I added a little bit of tape there, it'd be okay. The trick is not a lot of tape, not a lot of glue. And that's it. That's my, oh, and maybe you're wondering to yourself, so let's say maybe I tape this whole thing down. Look how I have a little bit of, I would personally, I just leave it. If you have a little bit, let's see if I can show you. It's hard to show. This kind of goes, it goes beyond the can a little bit, and you're like, oh, Mr. Smith, I don't like that. Well, if you, it's easier not to cut it. In fact, it'd be better, like if I press in on the can, I can't show you, it kind of conforms to that circular shape a little more. Maybe I can press in on the can and then put a little bit of tape to make it fit. It's up to you, but if you had to trim that a little, you probably could. But it'd be better to just, I can't even show you, press in, I'm like pressing in, like squeezing it a little, tape. It's up to you. Make it look great. But that's it. That's our can. You notice that it was hard to get this green neat. The orange looks pretty good. The neater you color your can, and the neater you cut out your can, and the less tape you use, the better it will look. So that's your goal. You might think, it's just an easy color project. Actually, it's pretty tricky to get this can just right. So just take your time to color everything as neatly as you can. That's like half of it, is like just a neat color job. Then try to cut it out as carefully as you can, and either use glue. Glue looks best right here. I just used a glue stick. It actually worked really well. But I gooped it on, in that strip, and I glued it. You saw. And it worked pretty good. If you have to use tape, have your parents help you, but if your parents are busy, just try your best, But that's it. We want to make this can as best as possible. Now, the real trick is bringing this to school without it getting squished. So try to bring it to school without being squished, or you can have your parents just take a picture of it and send it to me. But I would like to collect these. I would like to keep these, for the art show, if we do that at the end of the year, which is our goal if we come back to school. So I would like to collect these. So try to bring these to school, and try not to squish them when you come to school. If you're worried about that, take a picture and then, send it to me. But it's up to you. But I definitely want to see your cans. Bring them to school. I prefer that you bring them to school carefully, and then I can collect them from your classroom. So that's it. So that's our Campbell soup can. If for some reason, now I had this in a packet that you picked up from school. If for some reason your parent didn't want to come to school or couldn't come to school to pick up stuff, I put the file, if you have a printer at home, like a computer printer, you can actually print this out, this can. You can actually print it out. It's in your Canvas assignment page. It's in the description of it. I have the JPEG. The problem is your parents have to be a little tech savvy. They have to be able to open up that JPEG, and they have to print it. Now, the paper I gave you from school, it's on cardstock, so it's a little thicker and it works a lot nicer. But if they print it home, if they don't have cardstock, it's going to be on thinner paper, and it'll be harder to make it a kind of a sturdy can. But it's okay. I mean, You know, if they just use regular paper, it's totally fine, copy paper. But it's just a little nicer on the cardstock. But it's not mandatory. It's not essential that it's like that. But that's it. That's our can project. So work on that, and I can't wait to see your can. Have a great week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.